Hello and welcome to Upper Intermediate 1. My name is John and I'll be working with you for this course. In this course, Upper Intermediate 1, we'll be covering the first 4 units, that's Unit 1, 2, 3 and 4 of the New Headway textbook. So let's start now. Before we start looking at the textbook, I'd just like to introduce myself very quickly. As I said, my name is John. I am from England and I am currently teaching here at ELIT in Malaysia. It's very nice to meet you. In the first unit of the course, we will be looking at the tense system that we use in English. So we'll be looking mainly at verbs and how we can use them to express different time periods and different times in which actions happened. So, without any further ado, please turn to the first page of your book. So, here on page 6 is where we will start with Unit 1, and the first thing we're going to do is just a quick exercise to revise and to practice some of our tense. As you can see, I've drawn a box around our first exercise of the new course, and on the left we have some sentences with verbs in some different tenses, and then on the right in the smaller we have some time expressions. So, very simply, what I'd like you to do, I'd like you to match those sentences 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 on the left with time expressions from the smaller box on the right. Your teacher will put you into pairs, so please work with your partners, and I'd like you to take 5 minutes for this exercise. Please begin now. Okay, so if you have finished, then let's have a look at the answers together. Okay, so as you can see, I've now written the answers up in the box. Let's just go through them together. Number 1, my parents met in Paris. That we can use in the 1970s as an expression there. They travel abroad frequently. Present simple we can use with adverbs like frequently, adverbs of time. Number 3, they were working in Canada when I was born. I was born in Montreal during a snowstorm. My grandparents have lived in Ireland since I was a child. I wrote to my grandmother the other day. I'm going to work in the US for a year. My brother's flying to Argentina on business in a fortnight's time. Remember, a fortnight means 2 weeks. So I'll just put that in the grammar chat box. I'm sorry, not the grammar chat box, just for grammar. I'm also going to be putting some vocabulary there as well. So please do keep an eye on that box. And if you see any new words, new grammar, please do make sure you write it down in your notebooks. So a fortnight means 2 weeks. He's been learning Spanish for ages, for a very long time, for ages. And the last one, number 10, we can use later with I'll see you to make I'll see you later. So I'll just put for ages also in that vocabulary box, just so we have a record of its meaning. Okay, well, I hope you remembered your tenses. I hope you remembered your time expressions that will go with your tenses. And so now let's move on and start a little bit more practice and a bit more revision of the tense system in English. Okay, so as we continue to look at the tense system, and we're going to start by just doing a little bit of reading and some completion of some questions just to check our tense knowledge. So, as you can see, we have a picture of a boy. This boy's name is Max, and he is writing to his mother and father. You can see underneath the picture of the boy with the glasses, we have a letter. First of all, what I'd like you to do, please, is I would like you to read the letter, and then I'd like you to answer the questions in Exercise 1. Exercise 1 you can see on the screen. I've drawn a box around just so that you can find it nice and easily. So, first thing is read the letter, and then please answer those questions. I'd like you again to work in your pairs. Please keep the same pairs as the previous exercise and just take 3 to 5 minutes to do that. Please begin now. Okay, so let's look at those answers together then. As you can see, once again, I have put the answers up in a box on the screen, so let's just look at those together. So who is writing? Max is writing. He's a boy named Max. He's writing to his parents. We can see that it says the mum and dad at the beginning. He's at Grove Hill Summer Camp. Grove Hill Summer Camp is a camp, a place where children can go. They spend sometimes a few weeks, sometimes a few months over the summer, or a month over the summer, and they do various activities. This is very common in England. It's also very common in America. What is he complaining about? Well, he's complaining that it's boring. If we look at the letter, he says quite clearly that pine trees was a lot more fun. There were a lot more exciting things to do. How old do you think the writer is? Well, the question asks how old we think he is. Obviously, from the letter, we don't actually know his exact age, but he's probably quite young. People usually go to summer camps up to the age of about 12 or 13 in England, so he's probably not much older than early teens, or maybe even a little bit younger than that. Okay, well done. Let's move on and let's look at some of the questions that we can complete in our next exercise. Okay, in exercise 2, which you can see, once again I've drawn a box around. We have some questions with some gaps, and we need to fill in the verbs. When we're filling in the verbs, we need to look at the letter and make sure, please, that we use the correct tense. This is an exercise where we're going to be looking at verb tenses, so we need to think very, very carefully about it. Let's look together at number 1. How long max at summer camp? Well, we know we're talking about an activity that started in the past, continues now, and will probably continue in the future, so we can tell that we probably need to use a present perfect tense here. In this case, we're going to use the verb to be, and so our answer will be, how long has Max been at summer camp? So I've put our first answer up for the first question. How long has Max been at summer camp? So now, working with your partner again, please fill in the blanks of the questions, and also, as you can see from the exercise, we must also fill in blanks in the answers. So please, working together, it's always easier if you work together. Please take 5 minutes, fill in the blanks in the questions, and then fill in the blanks in the answers, please. 5 minutes, please begin. Okay, so let's go ahead now and just take a look at those answers together. I'll put the answers just up on the screen now. Okay, so if we look at those together, we already filled in our first answer. How long has Max been at summer camp? Well, he's been there just 2 days. Is he having a good time? Unfortunately, no, poor Max, not really. He is very homesick. Is this his first time at summer camp? No, it isn't. He has been once before. Last year, he went. Past simple, finished action in the past, he went to Pine Trees. Did he like it at Pine Trees? Again, past simple, it's a finished action in the past. Oh yes, he liked it very much. Same reason. Why was that? We stay here in the past simple because we're still talking about how he liked it in the past, and the reason for that is because they had more exciting things to do, exciting stuff to do. What is he doing tomorrow? Tomorrow he's making pancakes. He doesn't sound very excited about it. And number 7, the final one. Why does he want his cell phone? We're using the present simple now because we're talking in the present, and he wants his cell phone because all the other kids have them. So I'd like you to just check your answers again and make sure that you have the same answers on the screen. If you have any questions, please do talk to your teacher and they will be able to help you. So if we look just back down into that chat window, please, the chat window here, you can see I'm moving the mouse. I've just put up a very quick summary of the tenses that we've looked at. Some very quick tenses. I think we've studied all of these before. I don't think it should really be a problem. But we're talking about the present simple tense, which is something we use for facts. Facts, of course, are things that are true now, like John is a teacher, is a fact. Or for our routines. Routines being things like I get up every day. I eat lunch at 12 o'clock. Every day. Things we do every day, every week, every month, every year. Things we do are repeated. Present continuous tense is something that we use to describe an action that is happening right at this moment. So if we look back at number 2 in the exercise, is he having a good time? That's something that's happening even as he's writing the letter. We can then move into our past tenses, the past simple tenses. We've talked about it briefly already. It's a finished action in the past. So he went to Pine Trees was our answer in number 3. Our past continuous tense, something we use quite a lot, not actually mentioned in the exercise, but worth remembering all the same. We use it for an interrupted action in the past. So something like, I was walking to school when it started to rain. I was having a shower when you phoned me. It's an interrupted action in the past, or it gives a sort of background to what's actually happening. It explains the situation before we talk about our main action. The last one we will look at now, I'm just going to scroll down, is the present perfect, a slightly more complicated tense. We have three main meanings for this. We have the one we have here with Max in question 1. How long has Max been at summer camp? That is something that started in the past, that continues now, and will probably continue in the future. He's not going home from summer camp just yet. We can also use it for our experience. I have been to Australia. And our very last one, to show the effect an action in the past has had in the present. This can be things such as, I can't play football today because I've hurt my leg. We don't worry too much about when it happened. We just know that I hurt my leg in the past, but it's causing me problems now. So today I can't play football because I've hurt my leg sometime in the past. Please make sure you write these down, and I'll scroll back up and then I'll scroll them back down again just to give you a little bit of time. Please ask your teacher to rewind the tape if you need a little bit more time to copy that down. Okay, so here's the first one scrolled up now, and now we're going to scroll just back down. Okay, please make sure you have those written down. Again, please make sure you ask your teacher to rewind the tape if you need a little bit more time. Okay, once you've written those down, then let's move on to page 7. Here on page 7 we have another email. This is, as you can see, from a girl named Sophie, and she's writing to her friend. What I'd like you to do again, please, is I'd like you to read the email, and then I'd like you to just answer the questions in the instructions in exercise 4. Just so you know which questions I'm talking about, I've now drawn a box just around the questions to look at. So please, with your partner, take 3 to 5 minutes to just quickly read that email and then answer those questions in the black box that I've drawn around them. 3 to 5 minutes, please. Start now. Okay, so let's now just look at the answers to those questions together. Okay, so if we look at those questions now, we can tell that the email is about her trip. She's currently in New Zealand. She's just been to Australia. Her likes and dislikes. She obviously likes smaller countries with cooler weather. And she does definitely likes wildlife. But she doesn't really like the hot weather. She didn't like the 44-degree heat in Australia. Who is Rob? Well, we don't know exactly who Rob is. He's obviously a friend of hers. He's possibly her boyfriend. She says that she's missing him like crazy, but we really don't know. He's definitely a friend. Catherine also is her friend, somebody she's travelling with. It's possible, of course, that Catherine is her sister. We don't really know. In fact, if we look more closely at the letter, which I just have, Robert is almost certainly her boyfriend, as Sophie says, "love you," at the bottom of the email. So Rob is probably her boyfriend, Catherine probably just her friend. Okay, so now that we have an idea of what the email is about, let's go on and have a look at the rest of the exercise in exercise 4. Okay, just to help you know which which questions I'm talking about, I've just drawn a black box around them now. Very similar to the exercise we just did with Max on his holiday. We're going to try to complete the questions. Okay, so please complete the questions. Make sure you use the correct verbs in the correct tenses. Work again with your partner, please. Take 5 minutes to just write those questions about the. Okay, so now that you have made those questions, let's just listen to the tape and you can check your answers against that tape. Are you ready to listen to the tape? So listen carefully, check your answers.
Tape script 1.2. 1.
How long has Sophie been in New Zealand?
Nearly a week.
2.
How long was she in Australia?
3 weeks.
3.
Who is she travelling with?
Catherine.
4.
Why does she like New Zealand?
Because it's smaller and cooler than Australia.
5.
Why did she like Kangaroo Island?
Because of the wildlife. She saw some platypus there.
6.
What's their car like?
It's okay. The lights work and it has a big glove box, but it sometimes makes strange noises.
7.
Which wildlife has she seen already?
She's seen dolphins, whales, and enormous albatrosses.
8.
Where are they going next?
They're heading up the west coast.
9.
Why is she sending Rob photos?
So that he won't forget what she looks like.
Okay, so you've listened to the questions and also the answers to the questions are on there. I hope you can remember them because you're going to need them in a little bit. So you've listened, you've checked your answers. Now let's just very quickly look at those questions together. So before we do that though, please, what I'd like you to do, you've written your questions. Now I'd like you to just look in the text and make sure you have the answers. You've already heard them once, so this should be a very easy task for you to do. So, with the questions that you and your partner have made, look at the article and just find the answers, and then we'll look at them all together. Please just take 5 minutes now to read the article and find the answers to the question. Please begin. Okay then, well let's look now at those questions and those answers together. I'll put them up on screen now. So if we look at those answers together, you can see them on the screen now. How long has Sophie been in New Zealand? She's been there nearly a week. How long was she in Australia? 3 weeks. That's the present perfect because she's in New Zealand now, and the past simple because obviously her time in Australia is finished. Who is she travelling with? There's our present continuous, something that's happening at the moment. She's travelling with Catherine. Why does she like New Zealand? Present simple, she's there now. We're talking about something that's happening now. She likes it because it is smaller and cooler than Australia. Cooler, she means the weather, not cool in terms of Michael Jackson. Why did she like Kangaroo Island? Her time in Kangaroo Island was in the past. It is finished. So we use the past simple. She liked it because of the wildlife and she saw some platypus there. Platypus are some very strange animals which you may have seen on the television. What is their car like? Well, it's okay. It's not great. The lights work and it has a big glove box, but sometimes it makes some strange noises. Number 7, which wildlife has she seen already? Wildlife is a word we often use for animals. She's seen dolphins, she's seen whales, she's seen some enormous albatrosses. Albatrosses are very, very big birds. Where are they going next? Well, they're heading up the west coast. Heading up is a phrase we use sometimes to mean we're going somewhere. It's quite a casual phrase. Why is she sending Robert photos? Well, I think we know for sure now that he is her boyfriend. She's sending him photos so that he won't forget what she looks like. Please check your answers on the screen. If you have any questions, please do ask your teacher or ask him to wind the tape back so you can see the video again. Okay, let's just move on now and just finish up the last thing we're going to do for this lesson. Okay, so looking a little bit more closely at her email, you can see I've underlined some verbs. Missing you like crazy, like it lots, went, have already seen, can't wait. As you can see here on these are all verbs and they are missing their subject. Usually we would say I'm missing you like crazy or I like it lots here. We could also say we went to the classy sounding Dell's cars and then I or we have already seen dolphins, whales and enormous albatrosses. The last one, can't wait, usually we would be saying I. As you have been taught, all verbs do need a subject. However, sometimes When we are writing very quickly, when we are writing to a friend or family, please, not to your boss, not to your boss, not to your school, not to your president. When we are writing in an informal manner, sometimes we find it quicker, find it easier to just drop that subject. Okay, so the reason we don't have subjects with these verbs, in case you're wondering, is simply because these are a colloquial or slang use. We're writing a very casual, informal email, and so we're actually allowed on occasion to break that rule of a verb with a subject. I'll just put that up now in a little information box so that you can write that down. Okay, you can see that information box there, which just has a little bit of what I was talking about, how we can drop that subject to make our writing more casual, more informal, and a bit quicker when we are writing an email. Please take a moment now to write this down. Okay, that's all we're going to look at today. What I'd like you to do, please, is now I'd like you to find your workbook, and I will give you your homework. Okay, then in your workbook, please, I'd like you to turn to page 4. Your homework then will be page 4, and then I'd like you to move on to the following page. I'd like you to do all of page 4, all of page 5, and then let's practice. Let's have some fun, and let's practice some passives. Okay, I've written that up there just to make sure your homework is from the workbook, page 4, page 5, and the passives on page 6. So we'll finish our lesson here for today. Thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you again for lesson 2. Thank you very much, and goodbye.